Well, restaurants are really on the front lines of the COVID economic battle and working to stay open and viable while living with limited customers, raising those prices and daily restrictions.
Yeah, it has not been easy on them.
No.
Well, we wanted a restaurant that has survived 100 years, and the owner is working to keep it open for the next generation. KREM 2's Laura Papetti visits Skyway Cafe out at Felds Field tonight in this Love Local story.
The Skyway Cafe is 100 years old, a small restaurant with its own curbside appeal. The cafe is nestled next to the runway at Felds Field, and it's about the closest thing you can get to flying without actually getting into the plane. It's also a place where you can have your favorite foods while watching a never-ending air show.
I just love the atmosphere, flying, the aviation, the people, and the food.
Sandra Melton is the captain of the ship, or to bring it into restaurant terms, she owns it. She's been running the Skyway for 10 years, but like just about everything inside the cafe, there's a story behind the story.
It all started when my mom used to bring me here for ice cream when I was a little girl. And then my mom started cooking here in the 80s and cooked for 17 years. And then my sister owned it for 10.
Early to mid 80s when I first came out here.
The restaurant is family for many of the regulars, people attracted by the aviation heritage and hooked on the famous home-cooked fare. People like CJ Amistoy, who is part of the Skyway story.
It was 10 years old, really, when I started coming here, and it was, every weekend, sitting here by the windows, enjoying this beautiful view, and wishing we could be up sometime.
CJ and his father shared a love of aviation.
When we found this little place, it was just so much fun.
His father's picture hangs in the restaurant, a reminder of a pilot that loved to fly and loved to bring his son to a place that was as much about a community as it was about food.
I used to get a grilled cheese sandwich and he'd have his pot roast special.
CJ's father died in a plane crash in 2015, not far from where his picture now hangs. But the shared love of aviation spans into the next generation. CJ now brings his 13-year-old son to the Skyway, continuing the tradition and supporting the future. Like most restaurants, the Skyway continues to be dramatically impacted by the ongoing COVID crisis. The pandemic landed the Skyway into temporary closure. First, it closed for 2 months. Then the second closure lasted for about 4 months.
I tried to do a little to-go orders, but we're not a to-go order place.
The restaurant reopened at the end of February, determined to take off again and continue its 100-year run.
Lots of sleepless nights.
But all is not the same.
We had 28 employees, and now I think I have 10 because a lot of them didn't come back. Just the cost of gloves have gone up from $58 to $400 for a box of gloves for a restaurant. How many eggs do you have to sell at 8 cents a piece to pay for a box of gloves?
Melter says she is determined to keep going, but admits it's not easy. For customers, the restaurant represents more than a meal, so reopening was a relief.
It just makes you feel comfortable, makes you feel connected to something, for a brief window of time.
The old photographs, the donated medals, the aviation history all silently sits amidst the changes, much of it having been through other tough times. The restaurant has withstood world wars and recessions and everything in between. And Melter says she's doing her best to withstand this latest challenge. And when it's part of your family, shutting down doesn't seem like a viable option.
Keep doing what we're supposed to be doing and everything will be better.
Reporting in Spokane Valley, Laura Papetti, KREM 2 News.
Wow, Skyway Cafe, I love that, by the way.
Oh man, what a great place. So unique out at Felds Field, and it's just it's a one-of-a-kind place.
Yeah, I was looking at some of the reviews and everyone seemed to love it. I had to Google it because I've never heard of it and it looks amazing. Yeah,
and it crosses all generations. A lot of times families with young children will go out there for Sunday breakfast.
Yeah, to see
because
the
the kids will go up and just watch the airplanes.
Yeah.
Mom and dad get a chance to eat,
I feel like I'd be right there with the kids watching the airplanes. It looks so cool.
And then a lot of retired people just
Yeah.
enjoy having a cup of coffee and visiting, so it's
There
perfect.
you go.